and welcome to another episode of Olsem Wanem. The drastic drop in oil price since late last year continues to be the biggest energy story in the world. Have you ever questioned how vital oil and its byproducts are to a country? Take a look at this segment as we weigh out the importance of oil.
Oil is one of the most important raw material in existence. Because of its significance, the world is affected by what happens to this vital commodity. It is the world's major energy source, and without oil, the world would almost come to a stop. Life without oil is considered impossible because its byproducts are used in everyday life. Here is a short film to help us understand the process of how oil is refined into other useful products.
As the heat intensifies, different hydrocarbon molecules within the crude begin to vaporize at different temperatures. Now separated, these vapors rise within the tower, cool, condense, and are then drawn off at specific levels. The lightest hydrocarbons, like the liquid gas, rise to the top, while the heavier ones used in motor oils and road materials remain toward the bottom. The result? The once singular crude has been separated into a variety of fractions. But there's a question to be answered. What happens when all the oil is gone? So what happens when it all runs out? No one knows the time or date, but there is an emerging consensus. As demand grows, supply will dwindle, until one day crude oil will disappear as a primary natural resource. And we'd better start to prepare.
As refinery gas or bottled gas. Bottled gas because it can be stored in bottles under high pressure. You could well have seen bottles of propane or butane running barbecues or heaters in your home, and these are examples of the refinery gas fraction. Petrol is between 5 to 7 carbons in length. It is still a fraction of small chain hydrocarbons, and therefore these vaporize at a low temperature and are easily ignited. This makes it useful as a fuel in the internal combustion engine of a car or other vehicles. Naphtha is not such a useful fuel, but it is a valuable source of organic molecules which can be cracked to make more fuels or form alkenes. Alkenes can be turned into polymers, and polymers can make plastics which are used in our everyday lives. Kerosene has an important use as a fuel for jet engines, in aircraft and even in some rockets. Kerosene is also called paraffin in some parts of the world, and is a common fuel burnt in paraffin or kerosene lamps used for lighting. Diesel is the next fraction. It is a common fuel in cars, vans and lorries. It is not as volatile as petrol, and instead of spark ignition, it ignites under compression. Below diesel are the residue fractions. Fuel oil is a fuel used in power stations and ships. Lubricating oil, which sticks to surfaces and reduces friction and protects from rust. And finally, waxes, which along with the oils can be used for polishing surfaces. The very bottom fraction is bitumen. This is a thick black adhesive used on roads, either as the surface finish or combined with stone chippings to create a solid, resistant material. It can also be used to cover roofs due to its waterproofing properties. All these fractions are separated from the crude oil mixture. To try and explain the importance of crude oil, consider these facts. There are estimated to be over 1 billion cars in the world, of which many will be using petroleum as their fuel. There are many million flights each year, each burning kerosene fuel. Not forgetting the mass of plastic that is made and used each day for products and their packaging, even the bitumen used to surface and resurface roads around the world. As you can see, crude oil contains many useful products that just need to be separated from the crude oil mixture. You should have a better understanding of why crude oil is such a valuable resource and the use of each of the main fractions.
The driving force for Papua New Guinea's economy has always been agriculture. PNG is one of the most unique places on earth where agricultural practices developed independently from other foreign cultures and is one of the oldest full agricultural systems known to man.
Papua New Guinea, a nation of farmers, blessed with fertile soil, an array of diverse landscapes and vegetation, favourable climate, a variety of cash crops, and a strong bond with the land. Agriculture makes up a significant part of the country's economy. More than 25% of the GDP is derived from agriculture. That's an estimated $3.8 billion US. 80% of the people here in Papua New Guinea are reliant on subsistence agriculture. 85% of the food consumed here in Papua New Guinea is grown right here in the country in places like this. PNG's economy remains dominated by two sectors: the agricultural sector, which engages most of the labour force, largely informally, and the mining and energy resource sector. Agriculture continues to be the backbone of the country and a major player in the economic development of Papua New Guinea. With this in mind, agriculturists, concerned parliamentarians and other notable leaders in both the public and private sector have expressed concerns over the lack of attention and commitment given to this important sector. With the boom in the mining and non-renewable resource industry, many feel that too much focus is being put on the oil and gas industry. More calls have been made to the government of the day to increase focus on the agriculture sector, as benefits from this sector trickle down to the community level.
So agriculture needs to be taken a lot more seriously. It's always given lip service. Successive governments have stated it's a core priority, and as you say, it's a core priority in that sustainable development strategy. But nevertheless, when it comes down to it, the actual actions by government, including the finance that's made available to the sector, is not such that's really going to get the industry going.
With the recent plunge in oil prices having dropped by 30%, there is much debate on the impact it will have on the economy here in Papua New Guinea. For better or for worse, the free fall of oil prices will affect various facets of the economy. But one sector that is expected to gain rather unambiguously is agriculture. Soaring oil prices have always had an unbalanced impact on developing countries. The economic impact of the oil price slump on the global macroeconomy are multiple and complex. But cheaper oil is a threefold boon for agriculture in countries like Papua New Guinea. It is the first time in a long time to have the burden of high fuel prices off their backs. World economic experts say that the drop in oil will benefit countries that are most dependent on agriculture. Lower oil prices will benefit farmers and will eventually benefit consumers as food prices drop, among other forecasts. Farmers and agri-businesses will benefit from lower oil prices. Primary industries depend on petrol, diesel and fertilizers produced from oil and gas. Lower oil prices, therefore, will lead to a marked decrease in input costs for the sector.
And at the end of the day, as with the new government, as the government's new sustainable development strategy does emphasize the need for diversification of the economy, it's critical that that the costs of production across the board are minimized for all businesses, and the viability, including the price for sale of those other commodities, is strong, and there's a good incentive for agricultural producers and other businesses to invest and to rehabilitate and develop their crops and industries.
Global experts say that farmers worldwide should be encouraged to benefit from decreased energy prices and improvements in commodity prices, competitiveness and foreign investment.
We certainly would hope to see some restoration of some of the agriculture sector during the year. The innovative activities going on in cocoa by some farmers to revive the cocoa industry, which is obviously critical. The coffee industry has just introduced new grading standards, which hopefully will also help develop PNG's standing in the international markets, but we desperately need to get new planting material in and replace some of the old planting material.
For subsistence farmers, mostly those situated in rural areas of the country, transportation costs are high, especially to bring their produce to towns and cities for selling. This has always been a burden. Let's take a look at this high cost of fuel and poor road infrastructure for farmers.
Cost of fuel, poor road infrastructure and other challenges place added constraints on their ability to bring their produce directly to the markets for consumers.
Play it now, play stop.
Okay, so you play one, you got one.
Yes.
Lily ground block, kind of a block. Okay. One get one ground lolo planning kumu na sin harvest na sa market na silili tente. Okay. Now you get your story of the market. You work in Monila market, you buy in school fee, you story liklik lo disla.
Disla ya. Kano sem time play kamia. All sampla man all work money all stop. Na sampla man don't play all no work money now. Mi pla talk au by play stop. Mi pla gat kan tintin now. Mi pla start walking garden. Mi pla walking garden stop now. Mi pla lukimia disla hapia and bush karamap now. Mi pla talk. Mi pla try na cooking corn. Mi pla cooking corn. Sampla igolo disla office. Okay, sampla kam giaman cooking lo aslo divaya. All office ya all start paim now. All paim now mi pla talk. Okay, mi pla clean him. Mi pla clean him disla hap. Igolo sim lo kona now. Mi pla start market now. Mi pla talk. Good plan now. Mi pla sari mol pigini belum pla igolo school. School now okay. Mi pla start market yet. Mi pla lukimia market belum pla go good. Now mi pla start kisim liri ground now. Now mi pla planim kumu now, mi pla sarim kumu, mi pla go buy more banana na sampla kaikewe mi pla nogat lo iya lo genia. Mi pla sa go buy lo main market. Okay. Now mi pla kam sarim, mi pla sarim pigini belum pla go yet. Pigini belum pla or go lo school o wanem hap. Mi pla market taso na mi pla ruga uti mori yet. Mi pla woki mo sem go yet.
The drop in oil prices has had a significant impact on the price of diesel and petrol. Motor vehicle owners are especially grateful for the lower prices at the pump and are able to save more for other operation costs, such as vehicle maintenance.
Drop in oil price is one aspect of daily costs on vehicles. There are so many other costs adding on to that.
While oil prices are dropping, when consumption is increasing, we should expect the excise duty on petrol and diesel to increase. I feel that might take. So there's more excise duty going to the government. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who's feeling that pain. And because the price is cheaper, I'm going to many places as opposed to when it was higher.
This should see an improvement in transportation costs, where charges for the transportation of local produce remain steady or decrease, as seen with domestic airline charges.
Lower fuel prices give a substantial benefit to many other industries, and those include the aircraft industry, the aviation industry. We've seen that Air Niugini is losing money, and hopefully with lower fuel costs it can both do better along with the other airlines, and also that the customers, you and I, who want to travel within PNG or beyond, we also hopefully will be able to get lower fares.
Cheaper energy is a direct effect of the oil slump and also moderates inflation, leading to lower interest rates and boosting investment. This is an area of opportunity for small to medium business enterprises and subsistence farmers wanting to go into agribusiness.
As you know, as operating costs decrease, margins increase for businesses. Okay, so we're talking about, and these businesses might employ, that might create more opportunities for employment. Businesses might want to use that opportunity to increase production, whether they're producing a good or a service. There are significant benefits, very, very significant benefits to be had. Oil prices are projected to continue to decrease. And when it will bottom out, who knows? I can't tell you now. I can't tell you now.
The global prediction is that farmers may end up planting more energy-intensive crops, such as corn or even rice, as the cost to irrigate and cultivate drops. Although it may take some time before the agriculture sector really begins to reap immediate benefits brought on by the slump in oil prices, one thing is for sure: agriculture remains an integral part of this country and will continue to support and stabilize the economy, playing a major role in sustaining the development of Papua New Guinea.
The drop in fuel price is good news for vehicle owners. They get to pay less for fuel to get their vehicles on the road. For public motor vehicles or PMV owners, the fall in fuel prices means more profit generation for them.
Me play working money lik na business belum me play go right lik long fuel side na me play working money enough now also long fuel side me go around so me like to me play also me good pro long help me
me am mas for fuel go down lem because me play long me some point to
profit belum bas sales 50 lik.
The Independent Consumer and Competition Commission, or ICCC, recently released a statement on the effects of falling oil prices and the advantage to the consumers.
There's an immediate benefit to consumers, motorists driving vehicles. You will continue to benefit from lower prices. And if I were consumers, I would be filling up my tank, because I am filling up my tank. It's a good opportunity to fill up my tank, and consumers should be smiling all the way to the service station.
The current dip in fuel prices can bring benefits to the economy within the following areas: 1. Transportation, 2. Food prices, 3. Consumer goods, and 4. Disposable income. The ICCC, however, has expressed serious concern that businesses in PNG are not passing on the decrease in production costs to lower prices for consumers. In most instances, most businesses may now be using the fall in fuel prices to their benefit by retaining the savings from low fuel costs, translating to increased profit and not passing these benefits to consumers. According to the statement, continuous decreases in crude oil prices over the last 6 months have caused the continuous drop in fuel prices. At the same time, motorists are enjoying the drop in fuel prices and are taking advantage of this.
Yeah, I think the drop in fuel price is good because, some business houses which have a lot of fleet, it's a good thing for us. Because like me, I own a lot of trucks, so it's in a big volume, it's saving us a lot of money. While the other things are going up, like spare parts and the other parts, like in servicing the vehicles, the price is up, but then the fuel is going down, so it's good for us.
Oh, mi plan mas no go through. Usa mi plan plan dia beli local ri lo mos bi local. Long time price ya mi plan pa ni hard big. Now fuel price go down and mi easy through long plan. We save a lot of money. Moving around the city.
The owners will have more money in their pockets. They pay less for fuel, which means they do more with their vehicles for less fuel and less cost, of course. You have more money in your pockets to go to the markets and the stores and the shops.
And that's all we have time for on Olsem Wanem. Thank you to all who have participated in this week's episode. We welcome all your stories and feedback. Join us on our Facebook page and send us an email on the details showing on your screen. Until then, we'll see you again next week.